Hey everybody, it's Chanchai. We're going to do a sparring session today with SirHixALot, and should be fun. I have been pretty busy with quite a bit of stuff, but SirHixALot did reach out and was hoping to do some sparring, and I've owed him sparring for quite a while. So I'm really happy we can make it work today. So let's do it. It should be a good session, and we'll see what he's been working on. Alright, we're also going to get on Discord here, so let me just going here. So I'm going to go ahead and join the room here. Let's see here. Alright. He's been playing Go lately, which is pretty awesome. He used to play Vanessa, and I think he still does, but he's been working on Go, and I think Go is a great character to work on. So let's work on this. So he's like, hey, move quick, how are you doing? I hope you're doing really well today. Hope you're doing great. It's good to see you. Thanks for the support, and thanks for being available to watch me on this Thursday afternoon. Alright, I didn't get the call from him. That's okay. Let's see. Alright.
Hey, man.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Alright, awesome. Well, let's see how it's been going. I got to see a little bit a year ago, but I'm glad we could finally do a sparring session. It's been a while, so this should be a lot of fun. Yeah, sorry I've had to bail on it so many times. Alright, very nice, very nice. Alright, nice neutral. Oh, almost got that. Very fun. I like your responsiveness. Though you've always been pretty responsive, so. Very nice. This time you went with the way. Excellent. And the way was a good one there.
Damn it. Oh, damn. Didn't think it'd be that negative.
Well, I did an evasive attack, so if you did a high, it would have slipped under it. Nice throw choice.
Oh, damn. Nice spacing.
Thanks. Yeah, so as I see you move towards me, I kind of felt that I might be able to backdash there. Good. Very good. Oh, nice. I didn't expect that to ring out.
I was hoping it would. I wasn't expecting it either.
Round 4. Ready, go!
Nice 4-6P. That was excellent. Good. Good choices there. Nice meaty. Oh, I like the low throw. You went for the low throw there. It's a good one. I think it's a low throw anyways. Alright.
Damn it.
It's all good. Don't worry, keep it up. You're getting used to the way I play, but there's a lot of good stuff here. And then you're also getting used to the things that I do react to. So, alright, so Move Quick on stream says, did a morning boxing class, awesome. So now I'm resting a bit, always good. I am doing very well. Morning boxing is good. That's good. That'll get you pumped for the day. It's really good, all types of workout. Anaerobic, aerobic. Okay, so you like to do movement a bit. Okay, that was really nice. I have to remind myself, normal hit on elbow is only... problem with elbow, normal hit is just +0. so I lose the... so if I do something slower, I risk that. Nice, nice. I like that. That worked out pretty well. Good. Nice crush. That was a good option there.
That was a good call.
Thanks. It's hard to react to the whiff low punch, and uppercut will work pretty well there. Very good call. That was a really good Tsukami. Again, really good meaties. Alright, this time I didn't accidentally get a side turn or evade. So you also use a lot of reaction. The downside to using reaction, so I have to state this because I've seen a lot of people mistaking that reacting fast is not the same as playing fast, right? Reacting fast is playing on a delay because you're waiting for something to tell you what to do, to give you the permission to go ahead and punish something. And so because of that, if I flip it to like I just commit to doing a bari really fast, that's where Leon's uppercut's really strong. Okay.
Tommy ducking.
Yep. That was really fun. So I parried the first one, then I ECD'd under the next high. So the parry has a built-in evade, so it's more of like the built-in evade into a crouch dash. Alright, good. You're using attacks to make sure that I can't get away with doing much there. Very good choices. Very good being stubborn on it too. It's really important sometimes to do that. So, I think Brian, who might be Sadon, is saying, it's a Brian of some sort, there's a lot of them on Twitch, or on YouTube even, was saying, I think they're recommending mixing in more uppercut, but I think you mix in a lot of uppercut. If anything, I would say, but I don't have a problem with the way that you're using uppercut. Like, you're not using it like at the bad range, and you're not doing it at like a bad place. So I think your uppercut use is pretty good. It's not my complaint. Hey, Two Mask, good to see you. Hope you're doing really, really well.
Yeah, Rushdown was recommending that I stop going and completing the string with the uppercut to hook.
Yeah, if you complete the problem with that is that's a high, right? The hook is a high, and so that's asking people to punish you. It's really like you can, if you want to condition them into that and then try to punish the punished, that's okay. But the problem is they don't have to commit to a punish. They could just uppercut. So okay, so normally when you say DFP, what do you mean? Because normally down forward and punch is an uppercut. So that's what I'm wondering what Brian means by DFP. Because with the notation, it might be less clear to me which move they're talking about.
The blow poke.
Because he's saying down forward punch, right?
Oh yeah, he's meaning 3P.
Yeah, that's what I think. He's saying not uppercut. So, and I'm like, well, for both characters, down forward punch is uppercut.
Oh, he's wanting me to use 1 PK. I'm assuming.
Okay. Huh.
which I should be using more.
Okay. So I do want you to point out something here. See how you doing? You block my sidekick and you're doing an ECD there. The problem with that, I mean, is that at minus, that's a guaranteed failed evade into a crouch dash. So it's automatically a delayed evade, right? But on top of that, it will also deny your ability to use evade, because once you when you do an evade cancel, which means you did a failed evade and you canceled it with like a crouch dash, for a whole second you can't do a successful evade. For a whole 60 frames, you won't, like, whatever up or down input you put in is not going to work as an actual evade. If I were to attack after that, and you basically you would be locked into a more linear game by evade canceling there. So the point that I'm getting at is that you're trying to do evade crouch dash. You're trying to evade like Tekken way, right? Which is like you've got advantage and you're gonna sidestep to position yourself to avoid something. That's not how it works here. So here it's just automatically doing a delayed crouch dash. In which case you might as well do a forward dash into a crouch dash if you wanted to do a delayed crouch dash, or crouch dash twice, right? So if you block like a good attack of mine, like this is, if you block my sidekick, it's like -7 or 8. And so that's a decent time to do offensive move if you think I'm not going to attack or throw, but it's not quite the time to do an evade cancel, because there's only one outcome for that. Because you're acting before I can even attack, right? Like in this game, if you sidestep before your opponent attacks, it's automatically a failed evade. There's just no way it can work, because the game wants you to do it while they're in the middle of the attack. So that will like clean up some of. If you can clean that up, that will reduce some of your vulnerability that you have that's inherent in your game right now.
I got you.
But what you can replace it with is a crouch dash. Crouch dash is really good, right? Like you block this and I just crouch dash, right? It's pretty good. Even if it doesn't work as a fuzzy guard, crouch dash not so bad. But it's better than trying to evade cancel there. Evading when you're plus generally not so great, because it only has one outcome, which is a failed evade, which means it's just acting as a way to delay the thing you're doing after the evade input. And it's nothing wrong to delay. It's just that there are other ways to do it. Okay. That was good. This time I was like, okay, he actually is not going to follow. That's good. The thing about the strings is that they have a giveaway, sort of.
Yeah.
They have potential giveaway. Oh my god, that sucked. Good. This should win it.
No,
this is throw
I got
punishable.
that right.
Well, this is you're trying to Sabaki the throw. Gotcha.
I was trying to media you.
Yeah.
Trying to get the media timing right.
Oh, okay. Well, with the meaty though, is I can still guard it, right? Meaty doesn't mean I can't block it. Meaty means I can absolutely block it. It just means that I can only block but if I try to do anything but block, I'll lose.
I got you.
Yeah. So your meaty timing might have been good.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Good. All right.
Round 2. Ready, go!
I like that 4K. That was really good. I like this crush.
I'm trying to sidestep.
Well, this one was guaranteed, so.
Round 3. Ready, go! Ring out!
So another response to build, and this one was hard even for me to build, take a long time. If somebody is like evading some of your attacks, if there's no guaranteed like evade punish against you, evading can be a good option. You don't want to become like that's the only thing you do, but some of these cases I think it might save you. But the problem is if you evade the wrong way, if they do a half circular. Very nice. Yeah, good safety on block as well, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Brian was talking about what you were saying, which is they were saying to not follow up with the uppercut, which I agree with, yeah. The uppercut, doing a single uppercut is good. The follow-up, it should be hit confirmed, if anything, or at least situation confirmed. Situation confirmed meaning that you can kind of see it, like you can see what the result will be before it hits, which is an important skill in this game. Very good meaties. Okay, hold on. I'm probably getting all these text messages. Alright, let's see here. I like this 4K so much. Very good stuff. Alright, so this spacing is getting you about 4 times now. And that is that it's just that I know that that's where you like to do it. But I also know that you don't have that my spacing is just about right too. Let's get this.
Oh, and I stuck.
Thanks.
Round 4. Ready, go!
That was really cool. It was really good of you not to like to not attack there when you were minus in side turn.
That was a good read on my pattern.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with having pattern plays though. Just that as you use them and as they get like dealt with, build up your sharpness for what you do when people are countering them.
Gotcha.
Including when you get knocked down or when you get hit. Those are always opportunities to fight back in this game actually. Especially if the opponent is not used to the way things happen. So sometimes I purposely will like hop up to like get hit out of the air if I think that they're not going to like properly convert that, and then I'll use the change in the Okizeme situation to mess them up. Alright, that delayed enough. Crush. That was good. I'm kind of missing putting a few times. So this is the same situation, yeah, where I'm like, okay, he doesn't have the timing quite yet to lock me in, so I have enough room to backdash or evade. But it is, of course, that I also change the timing of when I wake up, so. So this is the classic VF1 style Okizeme. Just try to bait them into doing a rising attack and try to whiff punish the rising attack. Very good delay side kick. Good ideas though. So Rushdown Cho says Hicks 3-3P will beat Chanchai's backdash tricks. Yeah. Goes 3-3P is really good if you get a read on when I'm gonna do backdash. Though backdash evade's also pretty good. So like for me, I do want people to chase my backdash. I'll happily take a few punishes to start evade punishing people like this.
Now what I wanted.
Very good combo here. I like the commitment. Same.
God, same situation. It happens every time.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I'm like, it's gonna be right here. Don't worry, you have many options, you'll learn them.
Oh well.
Round 3. Ready, go!
You know,
You're doing good though. Just keep it up. Like all the situations lost do teach you a lot. That's how I learn anyways.
damn it.
So you see how I do this movement here? It's so when I do that movement, I am watching the opponent, and I'm watching to see like it. And so if they hesitate, that's a little easier for me, right? Sometimes you'll hit me because you'll just fully commit. You're like, I know what you're doing. So sometimes that's what you got to do if somebody's using movement. That's what I do against you when you were doing a lot of ECD, right? It's just like, oh, okay, I know. Like here, that one for sure. I feel like I can do that because you're using the slower movement too, because you're using the offensive move. That low punch was really good. The low punch was a really good call.
Round 2.
Yeah, I definitely want to do sparring with you, Rushdown. Always. I know that my timing, my schedule really is hard on your schedule. Like, we don't have much overlap. But I always love this sparring. So this is a popular trick that I do. So I push you with this, and even though you block it, it's setting up a backdash game. And this is also, when you fight Lei players, you gotta watch for plays like that. Anything that pushes. Always consider that backdash is one of your options whenever someone pushes you, see? Like that. Right? For both players. So even if you push them, same thing, right?
Damn it. Shit.
It's okay, you're doing good. We were just building in these reps, and you're seeing more and more stuff. Keep it up. And what I can tell you right now is after you force side turn, I want you to think about this. I have consistently been doing side throw escape in that situation. There are many options to do, but it means that I'm guarding, and it means that I'm also doing a side throw escape. And then you can hypothesize from that what would be good things to do after you hit me with 6 XP. So far, I've successfully defended you whenever you hit me with 6 XP, but I just want to point out that I'm consistently just telling you that I'm doing a lot of guard side throw escape. That means this opens up some options if you think about how to punish me for doing guard side throw escape.
Gotcha.
So what is Leon's main... Brian asks, what is Leon's main weakness? Hard to recognize when a Leon mixes a lot of low attacks like sweeps. The thing about Leon, his weakness is what he doesn't have. So Leon doesn't have stuff like a fast... Like, he doesn't have like a fast launcher, like normal hit launcher. He has a... Like, okay, it's still fast if it's 20 frames or 19, right? So this is like... So like, but like he doesn't have something like a knee... like the way that some characters do, right? And I would say that the couple it's a combination of things that make a weakness for him. The first weakness is, okay, what he doesn't have is that he's gonna chip away at you, or he's gonna count on you making a mistake, or he's gonna count on you creating vulnerabilities for him to do more damage. That could be evade punish for him. That could be that you do a bare, and so when you abare, his uppercut is really good. right? That's number one. Is that like he relies on the opponent doing stuff for him to do like a lot of damage. Without that, he kind of has to do offensive move or like get to their side, you know, stuff like that. And that's still, or he needs to use the wall, right? So like this is like my launcher. The forward hopping kick is my launcher, right? Like this is my launcher, right? And that's 19 frames. So that's not as fast as 17 frames. And 17 is actually a lot in this game. It's really good. So a lot of times the reason it can be hard to lock down on what a Leon player is doing is that most Leon players is trying to work around your game first. So that means so it means it's like, well, what are they doing? Well, they're trying to respond to you. That makes it hard to follow, right? But it also means you can dictate them. If you do certain stuff, you can start dictating. If you play much more patiently and defensively, you can dictate a lot more against the Leon because you're not giving him stuff to feed off of, right? The backdash, this thing, okay, other characters have better backdash game than Leon, but why is Leon's backdash game really good? It's really good because if he sets it up. So I set up and I get you to try to hit me. If I get you to try to hit me, that's when my backdash game is good. If you don't do anything, if you just crouch dash forward, it's actually not as strong. Wolf would have a better time with somebody that crouch dashes forward with his backdash game. But Leon is like really wanting you to actually commit to doing something when you try to attack him when he backdashes. So it's like a read type of a backdash game. Same for duck and punish. Leon doesn't have the type of duck and punish some characters have because some characters have things like a knee or a 17 frame normal hit launcher. Leon is just going to kind of poke and like duck under, and then he gets something decent, not the best, but he does get that. Okay, second big weakness, the one that's more clear about what you can proactively do against Leon, is that evading to Leon's back is very strong at cutting down his damage potential. If you get good at evading to his backside, this cuts down some of his tools that damage right away, and it also opens him up to being vulnerable when you get a successful evade. And so it lowers his damage potential, but it also increases your potential reward. And so that's one of the clear plays to do against Leon, is that if you're going to evade to his back. Now, I do have a tip for that. If you watch the way I'm playing, if you watch how I'm playing, stare at my character's front foot, Leon's front foot. You want to evade where that front foot is. So see how we're here? The front foot is down right now. And you want to get used to doing this. Practice this against the AI, whether it's training mode, arcade mode, or world stage. See Leon's front foot? That's to the up direction. You want to evade where that front foot is. That is the same direction as evading to his quote-unquote back, right? So here, this is an evade punish, right? Leon needs an evade punish. He wants to uppercut in a bare. He wants to use the wall. He wants to ring you out. But for him to manually do damage, if you play very moral against Leon, it's kind of hard for him. Also, if you crouch a lot, surprisingly, that works a lot too, because you cut off throws and you cut off lows. But then you're gonna eat some mids, but you start learning that some of the mids are not so bad. So those are what you would quote unquote call the weak point for Leon, right? So notice how much damage I get off of like evade, right? That's what I'm talking about, dependent damage. Because if you don't attack, I don't get evade, right? I would have to offensive move to do that, to get the side turn game against you. So yeah, so that's the general gist of like the quote-unquote weaknesses of Leon. But the challenge of fighting a Leon is that I put him in a class of character that I call tactical. That Leon is a tactical character. He has all the tools to do a lot of things, but he needs to kind of know what you want to do, and then he'll apply the proper tool. And then when you change what you want to do, he should change what he's going to use against you. And this is also why it can be hard to at first understand how to dictate the game against him, aside from what I said, which is really good defensive skills will really help. And then also so really good defensive skills, using the evade to his backside, understanding which of his threats are immediate and which of his like damaging right away, or which of his threats are just potential. When you evade to his backside, this is indirectly using that part of the game, and that's because the stuff that you have to evade to his front to avoid are things that are potential. There's things that are not like damaging right away. So like this move, this you'd have to evade to his front, but it does no damage by itself. What's dangerous is how he strikes you after. So after he hits you with this thing, you don't want to attack. You want to either guard or evade to his backside, which means guarding to his front, evading to his front foot, which is definitely the big advice I give there. It's really dead giveaway. After you see that when he strikes with this move, you'll see that you can see where that front foot is, right? Just like stare at that front foot even when I do that low swipe. And if you stare at that front foot when I do that low swipe, that tells you which direction you should evade. Then you avoid the side kick, and the side kick is the thing that causes a lot of damage from side turn, right? And then so this one is because he got crouch hit, and I know that he got crouch side hit, so I get guaranteed PKP right here, right? So 2G is not really the good option here. Evading is the good option, or standing guard is the option. So yeah,
circular, right?
Half circular, just a half circular. So what I was saying though is that if you evade, you gotta evade to his front on that one. But that one is you can take that hit. You just need to know what to do and what not to do after you get hit by that. That's the key. If you know what not to do, you will not. Then Leon will not destroy you as badly. So I can show that after this set. Well, I can tell it to you right now. Basically, the main options are, if I hit you with this, you got to, punish it if you guard it. But if I hit you with it, you've got to like either guard or evade to his backside, which means evade to that front foot. So just go ahead and watch this. So I do this, see that front foot, evade to the front foot, okay? After you get hit.
Okay.
Nope, that's not the front foot. The front foot.
Your front foot, got it.
Leon's front foot. It's always the attackers, okay? So right now, you can see that information is hanging there for you. Use that information. I say this because even though it's technically his backside, following Leon's backside, do you know why it's hard to evade the correct way if you're doing the normal way? Leon changes his stance with like half of his attacks, which means that it's hard to keep track of. But if you stare at that front foot, that thing is very constant. Look at that, see? Just practice it. Yeah, and then just punish him. Do like a PK punish first. PK4, right? After you evade. There you go. So 4-6P doesn't look like it's guaranteed, but I think PK4 is guaranteed. And you know, Go's got a really good PK because he can do PK4 forcing a guessing game. So PK and then back is really strong. All right, let's practice. Hold on. So, okay. Okay, maybe not. So if we're in this situation, we see that we don't get evade PK, do Nitaku. So the main Nitaku, but I would start with throw. So evade and throw. And actually take a look to see what kind of throw you get. Because it might not be side throw. Okay, that's side throw, right? Is that side throw? Try half circle forward throw. No, it's normal throw.
It's normal throw.
Yeah, this is normal throw. That's awesome. You want normal throw. You get to mix up. You get to mix up throw. This is a really powerful thing against him. Okay? So this is a really powerful thing against him. Here's the threats that you get. I'm going to show you again. Let's say you get Wise. Go has 4-6K, right? And so, like, let's say you go, okay, I get hit by this, and I know he's going to sidekick. So go ahead and do 4-6K after you get hit by that swipe. But I'm going to show you why you don't want to do that. But I'll first show you why it's a nice idea if you have a hard read on Leon. Right? So if Leon keeps doing half circle forward punch in the sidekick, go ahead and take the hit, then do 4-6K.
Okay.
Right? Really good, right? But here's the reason you don't do it.
Yep.
Right? That's the reason you don't do any attack. You don't even do, like, I mean, Aoi can do reversal. That's kind of it, you know. But she can't do like Tenchi. This would destroy Tenchi. This destroys most characters' reversals. It destroys Tsubaki. It destroys any attack. So generally, evade is the strongest option. But if you're not feeling it, just guard. You know, just guard side throws game. right? So yeah, and so you want to just do
dodge that.
just the spacing from it.
Okay.
We're near the edge, so we had a weird spacing after it. But I might not even have much room, so that's a tip against Leon, right? And evading to his back is always good. So like for example, take a hit, then evade, take a hit, then evade, and practice punishing. This one might be 4-6p.
Excellent.
So see how this keeps changing the stance? That's why I'm saying watch that front foot.
Ready, go.
That front foot. See? But this front foot is still there. So you'll get used to this.
Yeah, I'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, the evade weakness is there. It's just writing guides takes a bit, and a lot of players take a long time before they VF has so much stuff that it takes a while. So if you watch my streams, though, I do point out often that against Leon, evade to his back is just so strong. It's not a win, although the thing is that the Leon player is going to try to deal with it. They're going to throw you. They're going to avoid all that. But just know, this advice is good. And a lot of characters evading to the back is actually quite strong for most characters. But there's always the problem with VF is that there's always the counter example, because this game is there's always options. And so that's just true always. But I can tell you that as a general trend, yeah, if you evade to Leon's back, you'll cut down his damage. And he has stuff that can annoy you, but not that much. When you learn evade cancel, this still evade to his back and then cancel is still good. It's still strong. All right, we'll fight. Good. Nice. I like that. See how, like, even though, like, technically you're vulnerable, but by not doing a follow-up because I was waiting for the other thing, you were pretty safe for the most part. So that is something to watch, is if the opponent is responding to that.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, Brian, the other hard part about the quote-unquote weaknesses thing, though, is that this game is one of those games where the weakness is not so much, it's less the inherent stuff. It's more of like what your opponent's doing, and so that's why it's always hard to explain. But we will try to make this information more available. The thing about BFDC, it does have guides, but the guides tend to be a bit more proactive. They should have more reactive guides, like what should you do in the matchup kind of stuff. But I think they've always counted on the forums to do that. But nowadays it would help to do it in the wiki because of the way people use BFDC nowadays compared to in the past. And so you have a good point. So right now, there's a lot of times where you're trying to use Ghost features, and it's giving me a lot of room to do stuff. Like these ECDs are not like invincible that I'm doing. They're just working because you're using certain options that would allow it. If you actually just use simply like an elbow, you probably would have hit me half of these times near the wall. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that you never do those. It's usually that you want to mix it in and you want to get your opponent really comfortable doing the high punch or the elbow, and then you do the Tsukami to where they can't help themselves. So it's just more of the stronger your read is. But the less strong your read is, then just do more robust options like elbows, low punch, uppercuts are fine, side kicks, very nice. Lows are a good thing to do, so.
Damn it.
No problem. So in this case, what it is that's when I observe that the opponent is watching and reacting. So suddenly a 10 frame throw, hard to react to, right? so I'm just like, okay, like it's like if we're playing this game, no problem. But then that's when sometimes I'll commit to the poke, right? I'll just go ahead and poke. Very nice, very nice. Good Okizeme commitment. Very good. Good, good. That was beautiful.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Very good. I love your 4Ks. They're so on point when you get them. Very good. I like the that low crush always on point too.
That was a misinput, but you still would have You still would have got it.
I see. What were you trying to do?
4-6 speed.
I see.
Round 4. Ready, go!
I didn't get the timing.
I didn't do a low crush. I was just like, yeah, I'll just crush. Do some characters not well, technically every character has a low crush because you could always hop, and you might be surprised how good some of the hop attacks are. But not all characters have a blatant low crush that is so immediate. Like Leon's 8K, that thing is hopping on frame 1. Which is pretty strong, right? And some characters have that. Not all characters have it. But they do have. But they do.
Dick punch.
They do. Everybody does. But I'm just saying, as blatantly as a low crush, that's a slightly more specific. That's a more specific thing, right? So because some people are looking for something as effective as the 8K, and it's like, well, you don't have that, but you have many tactics to deal with low punch. You still have hop. So I was like, in theory, you have hopping attack. Like hopping into options is still good, right? But you also have like Lao has a fadeaway that's really good, right? He's got 1 P plus K, which he does like a back sway into a hammer fist, and that thing is really good against predicted low punch. Yeah, they all have some form, and but there's many different tactics to use. So other tactics, like Leon's not the best at it, but like right now I used one tactic that you would use against low punch, but Leon is a bit slow to do it, which is like I backdash into that P plus K, but like a lot of characters have like backdash into 6K, and it actually will do a good job of whiff punishing a low punch, because backdash is strong against low punch. So if you have like a good powerful mid, that can be really devastating against a low punch. But you have to commit. You have to kind of do it as a read first. But that's powerful. Really powerful. Like with Wolf, I do back forward punch plus kick, which is backdash into his shoulder ram, and that thing just destroys low punches all day, right? Backdash is very effective. It's just that when you get hit by high punch or side kick, that you don't feel happy about doing the backdash. Go has like up forward P plus K, go, and then El Blaze has like a lot of stuff that will crush low punch.
Your move was faster.
Yeah.
You went for knee.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I'm +5, right? If I buffered that, so +5 means I can do a 17 frame and beat that second low punch.
These are good evades.
Thanks. This kick is really scary. It's like an 11 frame kick, the back turn kick. So back turn should be treated as a stance in this game. Side turn is different. Side turn is actually side turn in this game. It has properties, but it's not the same as like someone being in the stance. And the reason I say back turn should be treated as a stance is understand that back turn has a unique move list, just like a stance has a unique move list, right? And because of that, there are a lot of attacks that are really fast, and they make sense, right? Doing like a back kick when your back is turned, in theory that would be faster than doing some other kicks, right? A front kick would have to chamber, a back kick would just have to donkey kick. So that's why you have surprisingly fast attacks when your back is turned, because your character's not turning around and doing it. They're directly doing the attack from this position.
No, I didn't buffer it in time. Oh well.
So one of the judgments that I would encourage you to think about too is cases like this where, let's say you went for that meaty and you were trying to hit me with the meaty. If you whiff, understand that most of the time a defensive option is going to be your best bet, like that you should do something defensive there. Whether it's standing guard throw, well, whether it's guard, throw, escape, or evade is surprisingly good in those situations because an opponent like me might try to do something fast and linear, right? But definitely consider the defensive options, which includes evade or guard. If you try to crush, if you like whiff and then you try to crush, you're probably attacking from a really big disadvantage. So building in that instinct on like what defense, like people say I don't defend. I defend a lot, but I use a lot of evade, right? I use a lot of movement. But I also crush as part of it. If I start sensing their tendency on attack, then I might start like try to disrupt what their attack is. And then this is like a Bare, but this is because it's quite strong. Leon's uppercut is actually strong for this, and it can sometimes win despite the frames, but usually that's not what's happening there. Usually it's just that the opponent is responding a little slower. They're not buffering right away. It's hard to against low punch. And when you wake up, I try to force these like mid-low guessing games on you because that's really hard. Because you can't evade, right? The reason mid-low doesn't happen as much in the neutral is because evade is really good at making a mid-low mix-up just not work. Right? So this game's evade system makes like mid-low mix-up pretty weak. Good. Now you should be, nowadays, now that you've seen a few of these where I did this and then I did this kick and you were ducking properly, you should get a little anticipatory. You should tell yourself, I'm gonna duck that kick and I'm gonna punish him.
I want a serious fight.
So if you're starting to see a pattern like that, you're ducking things, I definitely encourage you to go like, I'm gonna duck and punish, and you can punish with throw. There's nothing wrong with punishing with throw there. Like, yeah, I could escape it, but you probably got a guaranteed throw. So the worst would happen then would be a 0 damage.
Round one. Ready? Go.
So I do defend a lot, but I tend to use, that said, evading has weakness, right? Evading loses to throw. Evading has a potential big weakness to half circulars, but at the same time, the half circular has a big weakness to evade. Half circulars are higher reward but higher risk.
Ready?
And that's okay. Risk is totally okay in this game. You guys see me play with risk all the time. I'm just like going for the reward play, but I'm trying to make adjustments so that the same thing won't beat me like 20 times. Right? That was a beautiful combo here. That's all guaranteed. Good, very good.
Not the perfect punish, but it works.
Yeah. So that said, full circular attacks have a problem in this game, and that's people that do evade cancel. But they do have a role. full circulars are still awesome, but the only thing that sucks is when they can be crushed. Like high or low ones tend to be the better ones. Ring them out, ring them out. No, it didn't ring out.
Damn it.
Back down forward punch is a good move. So Brian was recommending back down forward punch. It's a good one. 4-3P is good. Good. Nice 6K.
Nice. Whoa, what the fuck?
Good duck. Good duck. Good punish. So I was wondering because I don't think Vanessa defensive stance has a good option that I know of.
For what?
For what are we talking about? Are you talking about for crushing the lows? Or
For crushing lows, Vanessa's defensive stance has 1P. It is one of her best options.
Yeah.
It crushes lows. It crushes some mids. And because it hurts so hard, it will also beat some highs because of VF's, like, the harder
the
hit,
priority system.
harder hit will beat it.
Yeah, it can win on priority. That said, overuse of 1P is bad. So use 1P to win the situation, and then make sure you do something with it. Something decent. Doesn't have to be something huge. But the downside to 1P is just that by itself, it's not doing much. So if the opponent just gambles a lot and then does one really damaging thing against you, that's not so good, right? Like 1P can lose to backdash, 1P can lose to a lot of things, but you do use it to get them to stop doing lows against you. It's really good at making them just not want to do lows. And then that's a much more contained game for Vanessa too. That said, Vanessa has many challenges to deal with, right? Someone like me is going to try to duck every high that she does. You know?
Yes. Defensive stance, all of her best. She only has one good launcher, which is her. I think it's, if I can't remember the input. I think it's 1 PK.
That was a really good evade.
No,
Ring him out.
damn, I locked in. Is 1 PK, and that's her hook to the head. Her best combo stand, the stance for combos is offensive stance.
That was really good evade punish. Keep it up. Look at that. See what a big difference it makes when you evade that sidekick. So good.
Ready, go!
I actually have gone to the lab with Leon, just so that way I knew when you would finally go and try.
Good, you got
I
that.
could go and hold my own. Ah, shit.
That was intense.
Son of a bitch! Well, I've only done so much against Chan.
Low crushes, yeah, but it depends on which frames they low crush, right? Leon's 8K will low crush right away, so Leon could like actually react to a low and do 8K, right? Eileen's 9P is like that too. Eileen's 9P is really like can react to like a low attack and crush it. But some moves like Leon's 4-6K need startup time before it can actually low crush.
I got you. Oh, for the guy wanting to know about Vanessa, the 9P is on frame 1 for offensive stance.
For offensive stance, yeah. 9P is specifically good for low crushing, and it's actually a pretty good backdash crusher too, or backdash punish. But that said, it should really mainly be used that way. if used as a pressure tool, basically, if your opponent attacks a lot, then yes, it's good. But if your opponent defends, if Vanessa's opponent defends a lot, then that Superman punch is a big liability. It just doesn't lose to people that are not attacking. You know, like, it's one of those things where if somebody just, at a higher level of play, their movement is just going to catch it. But it is an awesome move, and for as long as it's a great move for you, do use it. And if your opponent keeps losing to it, by all means use it, the Superman punch. But it is a good low crush. Its best use is as a low crush.
Nice crouch dash.
This is a fun one. This is Sabaki. This stands Sabaki's high punch, so.
I didn't know what to go and work on the side.
Ready, go!
It's fun to use, but it is true that her defensive stance is really strong in this game, but it's also an advanced thing to use. I think, like, it's not... Defensive stance Vanessa is not exactly easy to play. It's good, but it's very strong in this game. Offense stance Vanessa has definitely become a little harder, but still, you use the fundamentals of VF with it, and so I like playing her offense stance a lot, personally. I think it's a lot of fun.
In the previous version, her offensive stance was better.
Yeah, it was really strong.
In this version, her defensive stance is better. And they buffed that defensive stance a lot. To go and see it more.
Bulbous Bullfrog, thank you. Go ahead, sorry.
I was about to say, I find that her moveset is very hard to balance.
She's very technical.
Yes. A lot of her rewards are going to... She can deal shit tons of damage, but it tends to go and feel like death by 1,000 cuts with her. Just because if you don't capitalize on it, you do die for going and trying to make the read. Whilst other characters in the game don't die as easily.
The challenge with Vanessa to me is that she's a very, like, her weapons are really cool, but they're like they're very precise. They're a little too precise. They're less robust, right? They have very specific use. They have very specific big weaknesses, right?
Yes.
And so because of that, like, you kind of want to play. She has good rewards. She actually can do really big damage on a lot of stuff, and you definitely want to use her throw game. Like, you want to understand that this game, everybody in this game is a grappler. Vanessa's a very, very good grappler. So, if you don't get good at throwing, you're gonna have trouble with her. But if you do get good at throwing, you're gonna open up opportunities with her to kind of make the opponent attack. And if you make the opponent attack, she actually has really good tools to really disrupt attacks on both stances. And so using the throw game to get people to want to attack more and then being able to read those attacks is a really strong thing you can do as a Vanessa player. So how do you get good at throwing? There's definitely the mix-up situation people talk about, but there's also, like, when you see somebody whiff, you can throw them usually, and just understand that the consequence is not very high. The consequence is pretty low. So, like, you see them miss something and then you just throw them, like, it's pretty good. Yes, at a beginner level, you don't if you're fighting a masher, you don't just throw in the middle of neutral because you'll lose to attack. But when you start seeing, like, people whiff, then you can, like here, right? I can do a throw right there, and he has to guess the escape correctly, and that's not an easy thing to do. Easier said than done. Just because the escape exists, I mean, well, if he escapes, I'm not hurt, right? He didn't kill me. My escape, and actually, in our battle, we've been when he's escaped my throw, I think I've won a decent number of those situations, so I'm not worried about it. I'll worry about it if I keep losing.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
Got me ducking.
Yeah, her defense stance definitely does give you the opposite of standard VF, so I understand that. Now I'll go in between and finally learn her offense stance. Yeah, her offense stance is actually cool in my opinion, but it definitely does feel challenging in Revo compared to where I think Final Showdown it felt pretty powerful. The challenge with Vanessa sometimes is her range. Like she has a good elbow, the forward and punch. It's not an elbow, it's a gut punch, but we call those generically as elbows. But because of the frames and because of the way that they're used. Good. You're one step closer to whiff punishing it. But because of
what I got, one game out of all the sets.
No, these were really good stuff though. I think you learned. How do you feel though? Do you feel like you're feeling it?
This is how I learn.
Yeah, me too.
I like to go and quote it's Kung Pao something. I think it's just called Kung Pao, the spoof movie way back in the day.
Yeah.
The way I learn is the foot to face technique.
Yep, there you go.
I have to get my ass whooped to the point to where I'm like, okay, cool, this doesn't work anymore. Now I got to do this. This doesn't work anymore. Now I got to do this.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I like to experiment in the match, so you know.
Yeah. I always feel bad when someone's trying to go and give me tips and I unintentionally get upset. And I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to be upset. I understand you're trying to help. But understand, kick my ass that way. Like, I will adjust eventually. The wall come down.
Hey, Jamie-san.
No, but it will come down.
Yeah, we are 7 days away from World Stage coming out, so we are going to have a lot of our friends that are on PlayStation and on the Xbox Series will be able to join in on the battles and also to play World Stage mode as well. I'm excited for that. So.
Speaking of that, we got DVA going and having a tournament.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I think he said it's happening sometime in November, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But it's only for the console guys.
That would be
so
awesome.
I won't be able to join. But I recommend people go and join in. Plus, beat Knuckles tonight. So there's my shills for the end of it.
So tonight we've got Beat Knuckle tournament today. That's going to be awesome. We've got MF Diva doing a MFDVA, doing a tournament for console only, which I think is cool. And I also know that Virtua Kazama does want to do a Doral Cup. And I think, now that said, Doral is paid DLC. So unfortunately, DLC's, but I do know that they did allocate, from my understanding, they actually are trying to balance that character. So she's not playing exactly like how she played in Final Showdown. She's been tuned. She's been tuned and tweaked. People got paid to do this. You know, time was spent testing it, I guess. But Doral is basically going to be a DLC character. But I understand the feeling, especially because, you know, for those of us who've played this game long enough, you know, we know that she was free, but not in online, but she was free to play offline. And nobody played her, but now I think a lot of people are planning to play her actually. So it'll be interesting to learn how she is, you know, and we'll see how that goes. But she will be in ranked because she's not broken. I would say learning to evade will probably be very strong, in my opinion. Evade throw escape will be very strong against her, is my guess. Because just even in the broken version of Doral, evade is very strong against it. Because even when it does the hip thrust force field attack, you know, like that's evadable, and when you evade it, she's punishable. And so as long as, you know, you're not letting her do that 10-foot toss combo throw, you deny that throw and you evade, I think she's going to be balanced around the fact that those are going to be like big sources of damage for her. And then of course that she's got strings that are unusual for VF, so she'll feel a little more maybe like a Tekken character in that sense, where she's got some really threatening lows in her strings, you know, where she's going to force you to deal with mid-low a little. But I think when you've checked those pieces of knowledge, maybe she won't have too much worse than that. You know, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. My guess is that she's probably going, like, similar to you, to what you're saying. She's going to be just a knowledge check character for a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Which I find to be every character when you're first getting started.
Bulba's Bullfrog asks, so people can choose her in normal games. I'm not sure which mode she's available, but she will definitely be available online play including ranked. So
from as far as I'm aware, I think she is going to be available to choose. For anybody who's in Houston and is planning on going to 713v3, which is the tournament I host, she will not be legal for the first one. Just because I want to go and see how
everybody wants to assess.
If I get enough requests, I will buy the DLC and she will be available in December.
What I do think is cool though is, you know, what you do is you run a Doral Cup at your locals, and that Doral Cup, part of that money that goes towards that goes towards buying the DLC for whatever that machine is that's hosting the Doral Cup. And that's the solution at locals for me. The cool thing about locals, you only need one machine in theory. Of course, if there are a lot of people, that's a slow tournament, but you only need one machine. And this is something that we do at our locals on Street Fighter, right? Like, DLC character comes out and they will hold a tournament where everybody's playing that DLC character, and then, you know, of course there's prize money, but part of that pot ends up is paying for like having the DLC character on those setups that we use at locals. So I think that's a cool way to do it. You know, and that's the benefit to locals, is that people don't have to buy it, they can try it themselves. You know. So, yeah.
That might be the smart thing to go and do for the first tournament, but Houston's scene for VF is so small.
Yeah,
like, it's quite literally, like, I can count it on one hand.
But I think this DLC is less than $10, so it's like, well, you know. but I understand but a lot of times the draw tournaments, the tournaments that are for the less popular games, is usually $1 or $2 entry is the problem. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess we can't do that. You know, but when you do the $5 entry, it's okay. But then they're like, well, why don't I just buy the DLC for myself? And you're kind of like, yeah, why don't you buy the DLC for yourself? You know. So it's a balance of everybody's microeconomics, you know. So yeah. I did keep the beta demo on my system because I do like using the training mode on it. I like that we can still use it offline and training mode. So it's kind of funny to have that free version of the beta on our system still. What were you gonna say?
I was about to just say I appreciate the matches, man.
Me too.
A lot.
It was really, really good. I think, you know, you corrected right away when I told you about try not to ECD after you block something that's really minus. Like, don't ECD when you're really plus, right?
Yeah.
If you were gonna do something like a delay, then use something like crouch dash or dash, you know, or something like that, or kick guard cancel if you have it.
No, Go doesn't have that.
But
I wish he did.
but the ECD is not the call there, because it only cuts down your options. It only worsens your situations a little bit, but it still does. Offensive move is fine as long as you're really sure that I'm going to defend. But if I'm attacking a lot or throwing a lot, then offensive move has to be put away until the opponent is a little more defensive or predictably fuzzy guarding. You know, so that said, your play is very sharp, and you're like me. You learn by swinging in there and having these fights. So I just kind of give you those bits because this is because I think these little tidbits here are the things that are going to sharpen your the decisions you'll just incidentally make as you fight. Just knowing, okay, but this is where. If I was going to say there was something that was like an error, those are kind of like errors, right? Those are kind of things that are making your situation worse and are not really helping you. But there are ways to help you in the way that you wanted to do with those moves. So, yeah. But aside from that, no, you did really good. Some things that were happening in our matches was sometimes when I realized that we're both playing reactively, then this is where I say, okay, when you fight your opponent, you want to think who's playing sharper, like who's playing faster, who's playing sharper, and who's not. And it's okay to be the player that's not. But if you're the player that's not playing sharper, then you're gonna lean more towards using defense or you're going to try to psych yourself up so that you can get sharper. One of those two paths, right? But that's kind of the call. If you're the player that's playing sharper, generally keep doing what you do, but be the one who's going to be more offense oriented, because you're probably going to win the situations more and they're going to be slightly lagging behind. But then, you know, that changes at any moment. Once I realize you're playing sharp or sharper, then I have to make that adjustment myself. I either have to, if I realize you're playing sharper than me, then I'll go, okay, I'll be either a little more defensive, or I will try to really build up my sharpness. I'll try to do, maybe I'll tighten up my play to be a little more frame appropriate, but I'll try to build that sharpness, and then when I think I'm sharper than you, then I'll try to run with that offense a little more, you know. So that's the type of correction I kind of make when it comes to who's the sharper. It's similar to Magic the Gathering. Michael Flores used to just have the who's the beatdown, where you have to identify who's supposed to be the aggressor here. It's kind of that concept. It's like who's the one who's winning these like aggressive fights, and then who's the one who should be kind of defending more because they're not. You know, so it's a strong concept, and in VF it changes on a dime. But that is something where that's when you see me, like when you see both of us moving, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm the sharper one, or I'm the one sharper right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and do fast poke right here, like uppercut, or I'm gonna throw right here because I think, but mainly because I saw you hesitate, right? But again, that's the power of also crouch dash. The problem with ECD is it delays you doing that, whereas crouch dash could at any time you could cancel that crouch dash into an immediate decision very quickly. That's another reason to use crouch dash instead of the ECD. The ECD is actually the defensive one, where you're like, okay, I want to evade, but I want to like have these other options if we're playing neutral longer. So that's when I do ECD, right? It's because my intention is actually to evade when I do ECD. Whereas crouch dash, my intention is to respond to what you're doing right away. And crouch dash is really powerful in this game because of that. And I think with the way that you play, using crouch dash as your movement option a little more will really work with what you want to do. The ECD is causing you to delay more, so a player like me might actually get opportunities to launch you. Whereas if you use crouch dash, the tools that you're using right now will be strengthened by using crouch dash instead of ECD. So that's my tip for today. You know? But keep it up. You're playing awesome. I like your go. And let's keep scrapping when we can. So.
For sure. I'm taking what I'm learning from Go and applying it to Brad and Vanessa, and I'm seeing the play get better. It's just at the point where I'm like, do I stop playing Go now, or do I just keep playing Go until I got everything done? Like, finally learn how to really play VF.
Follow your feeling, follow your heart, and follow what seems to be working, because it builds. Playing better with Brad will still improve your Go. Like playing better with Brad will improve certain things, like realizing that you evaded and they're still crouching, so maybe you've got like a big opening there, and stuff like your Go's 4-6P will be better after you play Brad, just because Brad's really good at like whiff punishing. Like Brad's really good at seeing a mistake and punishing it on the spot. Leon, I said Leon has to kind of create the situation and read it. I have to read that you're going to make the mistake with Leon, because it's really, really hard to actually do it completely on reflex. But with like a character like Brad, he gets to do a lot of stuff on reflex. Like he has the tools to punish on reflex, and it's very scary. It makes him like his nature is actually that he's a very strong defensive character, and it's because he can play Tekken so well. To be honest, if I'm being blunt about it, is that he just doesn't force mid-low mix-up the way Tekken does. That's his weakness, right? So his mid-low game is like, it's okay, it's solid, it's there, But what he really does is apply pressure, because he wants to defensively beat you. He wants to punish you for making a mistake like Leon does, but he can also just flat out punish mistakes that are just made in the neutral and just made just right in front of him for no reason, you know. So yeah, but Go is so cool because he's got so many cool options even when he's minus. That's what's scary about Go. Go is like he consistently does above average damage on almost every decision. That's what makes Go very scary. That's why I think it's good that you're playing Go, because he's making you make these decisions consistently, and then he's rewarding them. He's rewarding them very well. It's just, is he blowing you up like more than half your life? Maybe not, but he's doing like at least a third of your life, and for each good decision, you know. So I call Go the sustained character in the game, the sustained damage character. So like in a MOBA, that's the character that's just gradually, constantly doing good damage. It's not exactly bursting people down to death, but it's like Go is just, I just got to make 3 or 4 good critical decisions and they're dead, you know. So because of that, he can do that when he's got advantage, and then he can do it when he's minus, and it's scary. So, yeah.
I find that he can be kind of bursty, but it's specific setups that you need to go and set up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he definitely can be. Well, he's got certain key things that can blow people up, that can do a lot of damage. So that's like a burst damage, and those are strong calls. That said, it goes both ways. So as you saw, one of the big weaknesses was how often I can evade punish you. A big challenge for Go is that if he guesses wrong, he eats above average damage. You know, he's very vulnerable to evade if he's not, properly using throws, and some of his half circulars, but remember that half circulars, again, I want to focus on this about half circulars. They're good for beating sidestep, but they are extra reward for extra risk, because if they do successfully evade the half circular, you're probably screwed. So if you're fighting somebody who likes to evade, because the problem, half circulars tend to be good against people that like to not as much evade, but they guard more, but they might evade just enough to where they're evading on a predictable direction. But when you deal with somebody who just someone who likes to move a lot, they might start improvising around it, and they might start controlling your game, with your half circular game being the point of control against you, because it's treading on that risk reward. Like, unless you're mixing them well or making it hard for them to actually get the read on it. But a lot of characters do have a weaker side, so that makes their half circular game a more limited strategy. And again, throwing is very powerful against evade. Evade cancel, can't deal with throw. Evade, it has to throw escape. Anything involving evade. If a throw happens, it needs to escape it, or the opponent had to have mistimed the throw. But a throw is absolutely a very effective way to cut down on movement, on sidewards movement. So, but Go's moveless, if he's evaded, he's gonna eat quite a bit of damage, and so that's the challenge with him. But it's a fun thing to work with, though, and he does have good half circulars. So, similar to the who's the beatdown. Which situations am I winning more of? Do more of the ones you're winning. And which situations am I losing more of? Maybe be a bit more conservative about how often you get yourself in that situation, And so it's kind of like watching Genesis Frenzy at LA Gathering. They were punishing with PK the whole time, but there was a good reason they were doing that. They could have done more. Aoi can punish with KPK. It's a lot more damage than PK. But Genesis Frenzy kept winning the situation after PK. It's like a +5, so the opponent is encouraged to fuzzy guard or ECD. And if Genesis Frenzy has a read on it, Aoi has powerful ways like low throw to really punish that decision. And then it gets the opponent thinking of a lot of stuff. So as long as Genesis Frenzy is winning the post PK battles, then that's the reason Genesis Frenzy just kept doing PK punish the whole weekend, because the opponent was not sufficiently beating them in the situation where Genesis Frenzy had PK, and always very strong in that situation. So it becomes like KPK would have done more. Anyways, yeah. Sorry if you have to go.
It's all good.
All right, thanks so much.
Take off. I appreciate the games. Damn, that's a lot to learn.
It is. VF is a fun game.
It's a super fun game. Incredibly dense.
It is, but I love the way that you and I like to learn it. We like to learn it in the brawl. So let's keep brawling.
Let's keep doing it, man. I'll see you around.
See you around. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, I want to read what Juicebox said. So Bulbous Frog said, Brad sounding kind of fun. Go can do it minus with his Sabakis. Yes. So Go can do Sabaki. Go can crush with like the hopping down punch. Go can choose to do high damage stuff if they have the read on the opponent, which includes if they have the read on what the opponent likes to do when the opponent is plus. So the more predictable the opponent, the more Go is having fun with that. The less predictable the opponent, then Go kind of dials it down a bit, but Go might start feeling like against a very defensive player, stuff like that. But this goes to where Juicebox is. So Juicebox says, when I watch Rio Rao, by the way, Rio Rao is arguably the best Go player and the best Eileen player in one. He jabs a lot. Yeah, doesn't take his turn with half circulars often. Yeah, half circulars are so risky, right? Like you use half circulars, the more certain you are that you're gonna win with the half circular. Plus, pretty much all of his good ones cover his back. Yeah. So a lot of times people like to evade Go's front. Stepping to Go's chest is very strong. It is. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's where Go has an issue dealing with evades. He's very exposed, and so, but he can try to use that so that if the opponent keeps trying to evade, then maybe the throw game, and if the evade throw escape, then the delay attack game, and then after that, if the opponent is predictable on the evade direction, then you can do half circulars. Half circulars. I want to reintroduce the concept again. I'll repeat this over and over. Risk and reward. This applies to to understanding what's likely to happen from your opponent, incidentally or because it's a read, or because you conditioned them. The more certain you are of what your opponent will do in a situation, the more you can go. Then you can go for a higher reward, even if it has greater risk, because that certainty is guiding it, and because you're very confident they're going to do that thing. So then you go ahead and do the thing that totally punishes that decision. The less certain you are of what your opponent will do, then you should definitely dial the risk down. And so you might be going for something a little safer, but something that's going to give you some material gain in damage. And generally it's just going to lower your risk and lower your reward, but you'll probably have a better manageable situation in that case because you don't know what your opponent will do. So risk and reward there's a baseline to it, but it's not, and then playing optimal is adhering to those principles. But the problem with playing optimal is a starting point. It's not about this. The optimal can guide your decisions, but if optimal is the only guide for your decisions, then you become predictable. Because that's like the logic of, well, I should always do this. No, in VF you should never always do a certain thing, because there's almost always something your opponent can do to really punish that decision. This is a very decision versus decision game, and so and that's the core of the game. That's the core of any game that tries to do rock paper scissors. Also, any kind of game that uses triangle relationships, the idea is that there are balancing forces to these constraints. There's a risk to everything you do, right? The game is about the decision making, and it's not trying to be too deterministic about a straight up linear relationship on skill. So this looks like a spam call, so I'm just gonna silence that thing. But yeah, so then Juicebuck says, yeah, his 25 plus frame moves apply here. Plus, he has strings on 3P and 4-6P plus K he can try to control with. And also his controllable half circular low. Yeah. He has like technically four, but they're two types of half circular low attacks. They're the ankle kicks. Those ankle kicks are quite good. They're good because they can be used in what we call reverse Nitaka, which means goes at a big disadvantage, they will beat certain options while also, but then he can also use them to control an opponent that likes to step. But they come at a risk, and they're crushable, and if they get evaded, that's not fun either. But yeah, because I did get some punish against SirHixALot today when I evaded those.
Ready, go!
But yeah, Go does use his string pressure well. It's that skill, the type of strings that Go has. I think a lot of beginners are not comfortable using his strings. Oh, some are too comfortable. But they actually work out quite well in VF for decision points, and they help set up the opponent for predictable behavior that Go can try to punish. And so there's that. The way that SirHixALot likes to play is a bit more intricate. They do like to use tactics that might require a slightly deeper read on the opponent's line of plays. If they're robust, then they're kind of more incidentally robust with what he's doing, but they are like, he likes to counter what people are doing, and so that's why he favors certain movement patterns too. He likes to trap them with movement, but VF, the way to do that is actually it's a little tricky. It's a little different. So that's the caution I had to give him today, was how to refine that. So like, okay, you can trap him. Well, I didn't tell him specifically you could trap this way with movement. What I did say was you cannot trap this way with movement. I was like, if you have advantage, evade cancel is not your friend, right? But even though there's something you can do with the delay, but there are other ways to delay that won't cut down your options, you know. But do I evade cancel when I'm plus? I do it a lot, actually. And so that's probably why that leaves the impression that that's a thing to do. But usually there's a better way to do it, simply by crouch dashing. And sometimes just simply by crouch dashing twice, you know, and sometimes just using a backdash option too. But yeah. Yeah, all of Go's half circulars put him at roughly -20 or worse. Yeah, it's very true. The thing about evades, you do want to get a sense of the general.
Round three.
Studying evade punishment is a fun thing if you're the type who likes to spreadsheet. I actually do like to do that, even though I don't do it that much. So I always look at the full range of punishability. It's like, okay, if I evade at -1, what do I get? If I evade the attack at X being the execution time, X -1. So if I evade at X -1, what do I get? Now, I also have to factor in though if X -1 is running into the hit frames of the attack, because that changes things a little bit. That changes where the range actually is. So, you know, so we look at that too. After that, we do want to have a set of frames of what is the likely situation. So we'll talk about moral play. So what do I mean when I say moral play? The moral frame data is like, okay, I'm using a 16 frame attack. That means I would probably, or the opponent's using a 16 frame attack. That probably means they're going to use it. They would like to use it at +4. So let's look at what it is at +4. What do we generally get if we evaded when we're -4 that 16 frame attack? And that's going to be a likely scenario. It's not the only scenario, but it gives us, so now we've got a lower bound, the lowest advantage we can get. We've got an upper bound, the most advantage we can get. And if we evaded early as possible. The first case was if we evaded as late as possible. And now we've got the likely, this guy will probably do this at +4, +5. What do we get when we evade there? And knowing these three numbers gives us a lot of information and gives us a lot of ways to apply judgment later, and ways to kind of calibrate what we're gonna do when we evade these things, if we get into that detail. If the numbers are like that's too much, then just knowing like that middle number, that what do I get when I evade at +4, will probably be what you just need to know, and you just work with that within a margin of error of a little bit. And so that's how you want to study frames in this game. But there is a lot of joy when you're able to apply the lower bound, the upper bound, the likely scenario, and then the other scenarios that you can put them in the spreadsheet too. You're like, you know what? This guy keeps doing this thing at like +8, so what do I get? And that'll be a lot. That'll help you. So, you know. Now, I don't always use the phrase because I do want to remind you that you can evade in the neutral. I evade in the neutral a lot, so I actually have to look at that. I do look at those numbers a bit to give myself an idea. But, you know, I think I've been playing sharpish the last month. However, not on evades. My evade confirm game was way better about 4 months ago, when I was 6 months ago, when I was really on my I'm trying to win tournaments thing. And I'm glad I did, right? Offline tournaments, I won 11 months. I had an 11-month winning streak in offline tournaments, and that included playing against players like Dark Nova, and players like LD Wells, and players like XTN, and players like R Panda, and players like Koenraku, right? Well, Koenraku would happen after that streak, because that streak did break at 11 months, but then the real target was Fight Kingdom for the whole year, because I knew that with my personal life situation, it was unlikely I was going to be able to go out too much. And even though I did go to LA Gathering, my focus has been on building towards my next career. And so with that focus, competitive VF has not been my focus. So with that, there are trade-offs. I'm playing sharp on some things, but I'm not playing sharp on evades the past month. And I know it, and that's okay. I work with it. I try to play a bit better on it. But if it's not happening, then you have to make decisions based on where your performance is at. So if I know that I'm not properly evade confirming, well, okay, then at least try to do the things that are more safer until you are, you know. That's not a hard choice to make. It might be a hard thing to do in the match, but it is not a hard choice to make strategically. So, you know, so there's that. And then it's like, when I do feel that I'm evade confirming better, then I'll start applying that, because it's a huge skill in this game. At the high level, that's a really huge skill. That could actually mean a win or loss, but it is a bigger loss if you try to go for something way too big that you shouldn't, and you're playing at that high level. You will get punished for doing that, so you gotta manage it. So yeah, so much fun. Like, this game is great. I love the game of managing my performance. To me, is a very fun game in itself. It's a very strong challenge, and it's a life skill, you know. So it's just situational awareness, like every game. So, Bulbous Frog said, I played this Westwood Sarah player earlier. They were starting on a fresh account. Okay, this game is opening my eyes to being more flexible with frame data. I like that it's doing that. I hope it's doing that for you. I think this game just has such a beautiful application of risk and reward. I love it. That's why I love this game. I love options. I like games that you can win. Yes, I like games to be won strategically. I do also like it when the game allows the game to be won tactically, right? That's interesting to me. Some people want games where the strategy just wins, and it's the more deterministic the better. Such players usually abhor any kind of randomness, but you know, humans can be kind of random. Randomness, I do like to believe that randomness is actually, it's a form of order, but the variables are so the chaos, we get lost in the chaos because there's more variables than we're comfortable accounting for. You know, that to me is what is actually happening with chaos and quote unquote randomness, right? In the case of games, a lot of times the randomness is coming from using the clock as one of the seeds for the decision making, because of what exact split second of the day that you're hitting the button on. You know, so you know, so that's like, there is an order there, but that order is something that is really hard to control and replicate. So yeah, but humans are very bad at being random. Yeah, so humans are bad at predicting it, and humans are bad at being random. They are, but that's why there's like little things that ticks, little things that key you in on what someone might be doing, right? And sometimes you can kind of hack it, sometimes you can't. And sometimes you're just like, okay, well, if I can't, then I'm going to try to control the variables the best I can. And then, but I'm also going to try to allow some room for definitely giving people choice is really important in games. I'll give your opponent the opportunity to make a bad decision. Really strong. Really, really strong. If you keep being predictable, the problem with being predictable is you're giving them like this main path, a strategy to win against you. But it doesn't mean just be chaotic random. There's an order to it, but there is definitely measuring a lot of different factors where we're having these little differences. And fortunately, Leon can be very annoying, so the chance of opponents tilting is a little higher, right? But I've got to fight opponents that can't be tilted. That's hard. No human can completely avoid tilt. It's just that some of us have very different things that set us off than others. You know, so a lot of people have things that they really hate and can tilt them as much as anybody else. And then I think I'm a person that, like, the thing that tilts me is slightly different, and sometimes might surprise people, right? They might be shocked when I'm upset. Because it just happened to be that thing that doesn't really upset others, but it upset me. So yeah. Yeah, so Juicebox allowed them at +2, +5, +7, and that difference for Go is often minimal. Yeah, I'm finding that Go isn't actually much safer than Akira overall. Yeah, that's true too. It is a rough one, right? But it's kind of true for a lot of characters in this game that, like, the punishability ranges are interesting where they are in the games they play. But again, we have to look at the decision making as being a source of, like, how we adjust the risk reward, right? What reward is going for? Well, depends on what the opponent's doing, right? And then they change. But this is also why Fake Steve's theory, which is the same theory I've had, but I framed it differently. But I love the way Fake Steve I like the framework Fake Steve created, which is when you're looking at an opponent, you're looking at, he used the term thinking about me. I would say interactivity, but that's too abstract. So when my opponent does, how interactive to me is basically what I do, does that cause the opponent to change their decisions much or not? And so I'm grading them on that. All right. So if this opponent is just on this plan, no matter what, well, there's a different way that I approach that versus the opponent who's actually following my lead or trying to lead me, right? So you got to look at that. And then the other way to measure the opponent on this graph is how active are they? This is buffering versus waiting and watching. And within the spectrum on VF is also reacting sharply, but reacting, because reacting is still delaying, because reacting is still waiting for me to do something before they do something. It might be movement, it might be whatever, but they're still trying to react to what I'm doing. That gives me, in this game, that gives me a lot of agency, actually. It gives me a lot of points of potential control. And it allows my uppercut to shine. If used in the right ways, though, If they're reacting with just defense, my uppercut sucks. If they're reacting with attack, my uppercut's good. If they're reacting with throw, my uppercut's not so good. Jackie's beat knuckle stupidly is actually good there, but it's not the case for me. So then maybe I have to do a hard read like P plus K or something like that. So we're looking at how interactive is the opponent or not. And then we're also looking at how quote unquote active, like in terms of commitment, right? How committed are they versus how much are they focusing more on reacting? And this creates really a scatter plot that's like it's similar to the SWOT analysis, where it's really just a grid of like 2x2 grid, but people can move all over this grid during a match, and how you fight the opponent depends on that. Like, there are very strong strategies wherever they are on this plot, and Fake Steve does a really good job of explaining the counter strategies for this. Mike and I both really value this one quite a bit because we've thought about these things too when we play. We just didn't formalize it the way Fake Steve did. So yeah. So Fake Steve, let me see if I can get this for you. So Fake Steve posted this on X of all things, and I think if you look up Fake Steve and Thinking About Me, you might be able to find it, but I'm going to try to get through the link. This article is really good, and it's definitely like one that I've shared so many times because of it is very abstract, and this is not really something that you can apply until you really know a game really well, if I'm being honest. So it's very high level, but it is fun to understand the theory and knowing that eventually you get there. And sometimes this can help you even going up, but it's hard. So I'm looking up Fake Steve Thinking About Me on X, and I do find the okay, check this out. And understand that okay, check this out is kind of, is it a quote tweet? I think it is. No.
You'll enjoy this, trust me.
But you can just basically go through this and let me see if I can find the quote tweet that's kind of a little better. But I think this is I'll just share this link because it does lead to it. You just have to follow X in its obscure ways to read all of the thread, but also where he breaks down the original theory and the countermeasures. So please definitely bookmark that. Definitely bookmark that link. It's an amazing link. Like this one, he talks a lot about it, and again, he uses not thinking about me versus thinking about me, and it's a great way to frame it. It makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. And then he does active versus passive, right? Yeah, and so it's very, very good. It's good at visualizing it. Definitely look at the quote tweets of it too to help understand where but like, for example, he says mystery player 1, right? Mystery player 1 is not thinking about me, but they're very active. So he says they're extremely active, but they don't consider what I'm doing. This player will challenge your pressure and neutral more often than not, and will predictably reset their pressure if they don't get an opening. How do we adjust to this player? Let me see if I can do this. Maybe not. Yeah. All right, you guys can see this, right? It's looking ugly on my screen, I get it. But let's do it this way. We'll just put it here. You know, it's ugly. Okay, so we got this here, right? And it's like saying, so how do we adjust to this player, right? And I think he does actually say how he adjusts to it. No, we'll go straight to Mystery Player 2, because we'll get to that later. Mystery Player 2, extremely active, but very attentive to my actions. This player will try to maintain control and attempt to condition me. They will stay on layer 1 pressure for a longer period, trying to push you into a specific decision. How do we adjust to this player, right? Mystery Player 3, player is very passive, watches me, gives you opportunity to try things, doesn't always fight for control. It's kind of like Gentleman Thief, right? This player will let you run your mix, but will eventually piece together the way out of your layer 1. How do we adjust to this player? Mystery Player 4. This player is very passive, willing to wait for their moment, but doesn't really consider your actions. This is a rare breed, to be honest. They don't often act, but are difficult to condition. How do we adjust to this player? Right. Yes, I did spar with Hicks already, yeah. So he says, in each of these cases, the exercise to identify the weakness inherent in being too far in any direction. So he's talking about, you got to be you know, obviously there's a more optimal thing, but you want to punish where they're being extreme. So let's go through the solutions. And at the bottom of this thread, we get to the solutions, right? So here we go. So, here was our player 1, Mystery Player 1, right? Since they're too active and not considering your actions, you'll glean consistent success from frame traps, whiff baits, and challenging their obvious minus frames. This is the most typical quadrant for a new player. Okay. So what's meant by too active? In the context of an opponent who doesn't consider your actions, is that opponent not properly considering the risk reward of their actions. Sometimes this is me, if I'm being honest, but you gotta catch me in that moment, and then you gotta catch me when I move to another quadrant. So he goes into detail that, right? Let's talk about player 2. Player 2, right? The one that's too very active, extremely active, and thinking about me. This guy is too active, but is mentally engaged with what you're doing. Being too active on this side means a player is too willing, urgent to capitalize on their reads. This is the quadrant where it is easiest to condition and force out risky plays. So this is the guy that's really buggy, twitchy, and you condition them, right? So, to explain what I mean by easiest to condition, it goes back to the setting and subversion of expectations. The more they're willing to take risks to capitalize on your reads, the more the onus is on them to come correct. So how do we capitalize? By sticking to our guns and giving them some room to lose. So where again, sometimes you got to give your opponent the option to do bad things. Present the opponent the same situation more than once and don't deviate from your game plan. The opponent is often trying to force interaction to catch the point where you switch it up. On offense, you'll get mileage out of keeping your pressure simple and giving them moments to hang themselves. These players are more prone to leading on reversals, backdashes, and other defensive tools. Force situations where these options are good responses and be ready for it. On defense, this sort of player will absolutely hang themselves trying to get you to deviate from your defensive game plan. They'll assault into your anti-air OS. By the way, Fake Steve is an Under Night In-Breath player and Guilty Gear player, I believe, and Melty Blood, if I'm not mistaken. They'll get their throw teched, they'll go for the big money payoff, and you'll get your out. Stick to your plan. Player 3, right? This is the thinking about me but passive. This one is fun. In terms of natural tendencies, this is probably the strongest quadrant to start from for tournament Under Night In-Breath. A passive player who is paying attention will absorb a lot of information about their opponent very naturally. How do we punish a player who is absorbing everything we do but isn't willing enough to act on it? We overload them. Mental stack is a real thing, and in Under Night In-Breath, it's actually a cornerstone of the offense. You simply can't think of everything at once. Ideally, you want to abuse their passivity in a way that makes it more difficult to parse the information you're giving. Breaking up or resetting your pressure in unusual ways makes it more difficult for them to choose when to act. On offense, this translates to a player who can run fake shit against. You can use their passivity against them by increasing your own rate of action. If you're determined they are being passive, the inherent risk of loose pressure is significantly lower, right? If they're not acting on the pressure you're giving, you get to do more of it. And this is what I do a lot too. So you use this extra breathing room to threaten with each part of your offense. Once you've established threat with everything, it's extremely hard for them to simply react to whatever you do. There's just too much to think about. You can run up on them more often and you'll hit. So on defense, you'll simply notice that you get out a lot easier. This can significantly reduce the pressure you're under while defending. If you know they're trying to bait you into reversal or whiff, recognize they have to stop pressure to do so. It gives you safer ways out. This all applies to VF, by the way. So this is why it's important to feel out what your opponent is like while they're pressuring you. Be content to take some pressure for information, especially in a 1-2 tournament setting. Yeah, that's me, right? So, and finally, player 4. This is the not thinking about me and passive. This type of player is passive and not really paying attention to what actions you're taking. They don't take a lot of risks, but they don't threaten much either. This sort of player can't be as easily conditioned or goaded into actions. I definitely run into this. So these tend to be the sort of players that rely on their reactions, and they'll do pretty well at that. They tend to be harder to overload mentally because they aren't really tracking those things. Against this type of player, make decisions mostly based on risk-reward. On offense, use the extra breathing room to set up situations that are more profitable for you. Specifically, it's the more room to set up that's important. If they're letting you dictate the match, you have more freedom to set up the situations you want. 100% agree. You can expect this sort of player to take your mix-ups and set play more often than trying to bust out. Once you've identified this, bring out the mix. Bring out anything that needs specific counterplay. What you don't do on offense versus this type player is big brain plays. Yeah, it's true. Recognize that this player isn't engaging with your mind games, and don't try to look for the big read. Just use their passivity to force more profitable situations. On defense, look for patterns. If they aren't considering your actions at all while pressuring you, they're going to repeat themselves a lot. You're less likely to flip your defense directly into offense the way you can against player 3. Their pressure is going to be naturally less threatening if they're too passive and they aren't trying to overload or condition you. You can just relax against this type of player and play your own defense based on risk-reward. Wait for a profitable situation. And importantly, recognize that you aren't in that much danger. It can be really effective to just let this type of player show you what they've got so you can make a better informed decision. These players have a harder time adjusting to you, so you can snowball momentum. And that's basically it. So, and he also says, again, this is just a heuristic and logic exercise, and he definitely advocates against making everything a heuristic, right? Or being a slave to heuristic. But an ideal player's dot starts somewhere in the ambiguity zone, but will move around the chart from game to game based on how they feel they need to react to their opponent. This is a really important point. The important thing to recognize is that you can infer from the data you've collected, both on offense and defense. Using this heuristic, you can start to identify when an opponent trends too far towards any given extreme, and that'll inform your counterplay. Information obtained on offense can and will be applicable on defense, and vice versa. If you're able to slot new opponents into loose archetypes, you'll arrive at the adjustment you need to make a lot sooner. It's extremely important to remember the point about seeing and subverting expectations being the bulk of interactions in high-level play, but you'll find most new intermediate players are pushed too far in one direction or the other. So again, these, I think, is just amazing. And so you guys have the link above. This is really good to review every once in a while, and it is a theory that I've had tried to come up with on my own as well, and basically it sums up my experiences with this. And again, I had my own ways that I came to describing it, but it's the same thing. Yeah, so this article is awesome. Shoutouts to Fake Steve from the Under Night In-Breath community. And it's one of those things where it's always good to share stuff that we see. Did I do the wrong thing? I did do the wrong thing. Okay. So yeah. So I'm glad you enjoyed the theory talk. We had a lot of fun here today. Sorry, Rushdown Turtle, I do want to spar with you, but I do need to work on some tasks that's contributing towards potential future career. So I got to do that, but I do want to spar sometime. But I gave time today for SirHixALot. I'm happy doing the stream. I do want to stream more, but there's so many things I need. There's a lot of projects I'm working on, and the career stuff is especially at the top of it, but there's also other projects that I hope you guys will get to see more of soon. So thanks you all for your support, and also keep playing VF. Play more VF, even if I'm not playing more VF at the moment, but I am thinking about VF all the time. So it's a real pleasure. Juicebox, awesome to have you in the chat. It's always wonderful having you here too. And thank you so much, Zenaida. Thanks for wishing me luck on the projects. I'm excited too. I got to keep my motivation high, but I think a lot of people have been giving me amazing support, including Rushdown Turtle. And so all those supports will help. And I think I'm pretty confident about where this potential career is going, but we'll see. But I take it seriously like any job, and I take jobs very seriously. So I thank you all for wishing me luck, because I would like to be in this better place where I can stream more VF, but also do well professionally and make my family even more happy than maybe now. And yeah. That said, a few shout outs we're going to give again. Today, Mexican Uppercuts will have a beat knuckle tournament. Now, this one's special because whoever wins this tournament gets a special in-game title in Virtua Fighter. That's going to be awesome. So I think that's really awesome. Two, pretty soon Virtual Kazama, on top of doing the takeover, which I'm really glad that that Hubs is back in with the bi-weeklies. But with Virtual Kazama, I believe he's going to be doing a Doral Cup. And I think that's exciting. That's going to be so much fun to watch. Everybody playing a tournament of Dorals. I do think that a lot of work went into the Doral that we're going to see in World Stage. It's not going to be the same Doral as Final Showdown. They did tell me this definitely is balanced, intended for ranked. I would say evade, punish, and throw escape are probably important against Doral as much as anyone, but just like I would focus on those areas because all the broken stuff will probably lose to evade and throw escape. So, but also then we have congratulations to Nero on becoming the European champion, on the online champion, and getting an invitation to Virtua Fighter Open Championships in March in Japan. I love that it's gonna be in Japan. I love that they really want players from around the world to try to make it if they can. We'll see who maybe they'll try to bring some players to be there to watch, or guests to watch. Also, that leads into North America online qualifiers. Will be starting very soon, in about 2 weeks, I think. So be ready for that. Those are going to happen on Tuesdays. I will probably have to make adjustments to Chow Chai's dojo sessions during the North America online qualifiers. I plan to play in the online qualifier only because I was encouraged by Pierce to play in it. I was thinking of not playing in it because I know that I cannot, let's say hypothetically I qualified for the top 8, and that's a reasonable thing for me to go for. I was very, very close to getting into that top 8 finals tournament on the first qualifier, and the players that I lost to in the second one were Koen Raku, who got second on that one, and Shidosha, who did not crack top 4, but was got the 5th place, right? I got the 5th place on the first one, and I lost to Denkai and Gentleman Thief, and I almost knocked out Gentleman Thief. So there's a real chance I could get myself into those finals. It's hard. The field is amazing, but it's reasonable. So because of that, I was worried that because I'm going to Gamer B's B Pro Cup in Taiwan, and I'm going to Tiger Uppercut in Thailand, then there's no way that I could participate unless they really wanted to let me participate from Thailand. There's no way I could participate in the finals for the North America online qualifiers. But I've been encouraged by a lot of people that the rules say that the next person would be able to go in my place. And some other players told me that they think it would be okay for me to play in it because it would still be good competition. It would still be exciting battles. It would still contribute. And there are rules in place to cover for situations like me where I can't, if I could not somehow make the finals, right? And then of course there's the small chance that somehow my international travel plans change, and then I am able to play. But I wouldn't count on that. So so we'll see. But so now I am planning to play in the online qualifiers, but I'll double check with people and see if people really are against it. If people are against it, I respect that. But if people would like to see me compete anyways, I'd be honored. And it's a fun event. It's nerve-wracking, to be honest. But even for me, online tournament is more stressful to me than offline tournament, because offline tournament I like having all the noise. I don't like being distracted, but I like having the noise. In an online tournament, unless you're playing an audiobook or music or something, you can feel so isolated. And when you're isolated, the tilt can be much harder for me, actually. The tilt management was pretty intense during the online qualifiers, if I'm being honest. So I did it well. I got to see that my opponents were more nervous than me, and then so I just was like, okay, you know, that made it so much easier for me. But it's really intense in the online because it depends on your setup, depends on the atmosphere you put yourself in during the fight. But I'm just much more comfortable in the offline than I am online in the tournament. So yeah. Anyways, let's see who is streaming right now. Let's see who we can raid, because we always want to raid people if we can. Thank you very, very much for watching today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Okay, we do have Brian. Awesome. Hell yeah. Brian is doing casual VF. Let's do that. Okay, so Brian C88. Let's do this.
Round 3.
And I think this is Sadon.
Go!
Yeah, this definitely looks like Sadon. Awesome. Hell yeah. Let's raid Sadon. Everybody tell Brian I said hi. Brian's an awesome guy. Sadon, really, really cool. And also tell him that I think his commentary is great. I've been enjoying his commentary during the EU events. So yeah, thank you very much. Everyone have a good one. Let's play more VF.
Round 4. Ready, go!
Thank you so much, Rushdown Chill. I just missed your messages, but Rushdown Chill said, we're all happy to support you, bro. Thank you so much. I'm wondering if she has something that makes her really unique, such as Taka's extra weight class. She has a weight class of her own. I'm saying these to the people that are watching on YouTube and for the people that watch the VOD. Yeah, maybe Dural is the perfect counter to Taka. That is an interesting one. Alright, thank you so much. Finish it after this match here. Alright. Good game.